What's up, guys? Here we are, December of 2024, and it's starting to feel a lot like December of 2020. That's right, guys. It's absolutely crazy out there right now. Pokemon investment market drying up. Not gonna lie. Would like to make it sound better. Would like to tell you better news. But in general, it's getting really, really difficult to find stuff to do and to purchase and to find things that you want to put into that long-term investment. Prices of Scarlet and Violet going absolutely crazy, nuts. Um, just absolutely insane right now. Biggest question is, what is Pokemon printing? What are they printing currently, or what are they doing that we can't get stock of current Pokemon sets? Distributors sold out of almost everything. Even I hate to tell you this, guys, Shrouded Fable just sold out on Southern Hobby and ACD or ACD distributing. So even Shrouded Fable is disappearing. The market is going insane on all these different Pokemon sets, and the real question is where do we go? What are our options when we're looking at this current market? If you're looking for that long-term investment, it's getting very, very difficult to try and find that long-term investment, especially with the looming threats. So we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight and go over that. It's a really interesting conundrum considering where we are currently and why we're at this point. And there's a lot of questions I think that I know investors, players, meta people, just collectors in general are having when it comes down to where we're at. So first and foremost, make sure everybody, as you guys come on in, thank you guys for joining, of course, on this Tuesday night. We always go to live on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Time. Thank you so much. I've got Pokey Invest so far putting down a hit that like button. So guys, make sure you do hit that like button as you come on in. Greatly appreciated as we start off the live. It definitely helps out and gets the blood flowing a little bit on the stream. So I was racking my head around this since probably this weekend about if I'm currently in the market and I have a lump sum of cash and I want to make a move. What would I do? What would be my move at this point in time? If I didn't have access to a distributor, and even that doesn't work, guys. I know typically now that I have access to a distributor, I would sit there and say I can get a lot of products for a really good price. Even 2 months ago, I was telling you we could gotten product at a decent price. We could have still gotten, Obsidian Flame. We could have still gotten base set Scarlet and Violet. Paradox Rift was still available in a lot of Temporal Forces, maybe not booster boxes, but the 144 pack blisters, same with Twilight Masquerade. The blister packs were still available. The checkout lane blisters were available. A lot of ETBs were still available. Heck, 2 months ago, Silver Tempest ETBs were still available at the distributor at Southern Hobby. So it's really, really interesting. And I think that the bigger question is that if someone could find out, or someone in the inner workings of Pokemon, or in the upper part of the distributing side of the Pokemon TCG and inside of any kind of distributing, could explain what are they doing. They have a whole print group. They own Millennial Print Group. They own a printing company. This isn't COVID. We don't have lack of material. We don't have supply chain issues. We don't have all of the problems that were originally attributed to COVID back in 2020, 2021. Or at least I wouldn't think. I don't know what supply chain issues that they wouldn't have had resolved by this point in time. I mean, like Mason said, when we were coming out of Sword and Shield, was the reason that they weren't reprinting the pack material. Because when we went from Sword and Shield to Scarlet and Violet, we saw the package material, the actual pack material changed. Then Scarlet and Violet base set and Paldea Evolved and Obsidian Flame. It's a different feel, a different type of pack material that was used. So the real question is what is happening when it comes down to Pokemon? What are they doing? What are they printing? Are they printing massive reprints and filling their warehouse and they're just not letting them release? I don't know. If someone has any idea, please let me know in the chat. I'm really, really interested. Hey, Shrug Nasty, thank you so much for dropping in. I'm really interested to hear what other people might have to say on this, because it's very confusing to me that we don't have access to stuff. And I mean, if I go to my Southern Hobby account right now. The 151, for example, there's a new 151 um Blooming Waters coming out, Premier Collection. It was available apparently for about a minute through Southern Hobby on pre-order. So I don't know how many people got that. It was okay, let me rephrase that. It was available to me for about 1 minute. I never got any of it. It was gone before I even had a chance to even hit the button to get into it. So the real question is, at that point in time, they're not printing that either. They're not reprinting 151 for that if it's that short of a number. Or is the demand just that heavy? Right now, is the demand that heavy? Is it the time of the year? Because we all know summertime, going through the summer months is always the slowest time when it comes down to sales. Whether you're a retail store, in anything, people are outside. People are enjoying the summer. They're enjoying being out of the house. Streams kind of slow down. Everything kind of slows to a halt, and we expect that to happen. As a business in Pokemon, I expect my summer months, typically from the end of April all the way until usually the mid September range, to be flat to low. That is when I'm restocking, rebuying, and rebuilding inventory at that point in time for the November, December, January, February, March rush, because now we're like dead center of what is going to be the heaviest sales period of the Pokemon season between Black Friday and Christmas. Next big hit is going to be when tax returns come back. So the early March all the way in through April typically gets to be very heavy as well. It's just really interesting to me. It's really an interesting conundrum that what would be causing this. And I just saw Moff put up here. Could Pokemon possibly have had a problem with one of their branches or some machine issues, which would explain the lack of product? It could be. I don't know if we know for sure, and unless you found someone that was like internally working in Pokemon or had some direct correlation or connection into Pokemon, which I don't know of anybody that I know of currently that have that connection. I don't I don't know. Once again, is it a material issue? They switched all those packs. So, for example, if you go and you actually get a Brilliant Stars pack and you get a Paradox Rift pack, it's back to a very similar material. So from this point to this point, we went back to the same material. But if you get, and I don't have one, I wish I did, but if you have a base set Scarlet and Violet pack, it is a completely different material. The package material was what we were talking about. And Mason brought that up is that he was wondering if what was holding up the whole production line was the fact that they didn't have the booster pack material. I'm wondering, could they have maybe done it again? Or is it something that simple? Then they could only print whatever sets, because I try and keep everything kind of consistent. If you've ever bought Pokemon packs, if you buy a first print run to a second print run, the material that the packs are made out of are typically the same. They don't vary. It's like once they make something, it's like the rainbow pattern. Once they make a rainbow card, whatever textured pattern is on there, they will never deviate from that. So, in some ways, that may limit the amount that they do, or B, it makes it so that it's a little bit more, it's always consistent. So, if you pull, let me grab this before I roll it over with my wheel. Um, if you pull a rainbow Charizard from the first run of a set, let's just say Shining Fates, for example. You pull the Charizard from Shining Fates, it's going to have the same texture as the first print run to the last print run. There's no difference in that consistency. So, is it a material issue again? I would have thought by this point in 2024 that Pokemon would have had multiple sources or multiple ways to get through that situation. And when it comes down to investment plays right now, so we're going to talk about Pokemon investment market. What would I do? And going back to that original statement, which is if I had a lump sum of money, let's say I had a couple $1,000s right now, and you asked me where I would put that into, or where I would personally put that into the Pokemon market, I can't come up with like a long-term hold situation. What would be something I would put in the shelf for potentially long-term hold? And it's pretty dry right now. 100% honest, there's not very many products that I would put a long-term hold on just because my fear of reprints is extremely high. My concern is that whatever the holdup is right now in processing, if they get that, it's going to rapidly change and it's going to be potentially a massive dumping of product again. Now, how much is that going to fall into place? Once again, it's all speculating. I'm guessing the reprint factor of Scarlet and Violet is almost kind of terrifying to me right now for that long term investment. Do I want to spend $200 a booster box right now for Surging Sparks? No. Do I want to spend $180 right now for Twilight Masquerade? No. Do I want to spend $150 right now for Stellar Crown? No. I mean, I'm just being 100% honest. The only one that I would feel a little bit more comfortable with that I feel could be a long term, but it might be an extremely long term would be buying Scarlet and Violet base set. Realistically, you can still pick that up for around $120. And do I foresee or vision a reprint of Scarlet and Violet base set? Probably not. I just don't think that they're going to go back to that set at this point. There's just really no reason for them to backtrack that far down the line. Not saying it's impossible, but is it likely? I just don't think so, personally. Um, could I see Paradox or Paradox Rift getting a reprint? Not really, but now it's just disappeared off of distributors. It's gone very high as well. So as these products disappear off of distribution, they become very expensive very quickly. So currently, just to give you an update on booster boxes that are available right now through my distributor. Let's say I wanted to go and buy a case of booster boxes right now. The only one that is currently available from distributor that I have that I can get through ACD, and I'm pulling. I looked ACD earlier. There was nothing. I am now in Southern Hobby, and Southern Hobby has stock. Hold on. We have base set. So base set is the only one that's still available. Let's go now to the next option that I would normally go for. So let's say that I'm looking at something for streaming or for that, business side of my Pokemon TCG. I can get I can get Scarlet and Violet base set sleeved blisters and Paradox Rift sleeve blisters. And is there any other ones? Right now, Temporal Forces. Twilight Masquerade is gone. Can't get that any longer. So Twilight's gone there. I'm just giving you an idea where we're sitting for even booster pack availability. Surging Sparks, of course, gone. Stellar Crown, gone. Don't have that available to me. So basically, all the other ones are gone. That's the only three that are available. So there's three options that are currently available from Southern Hobby for even the 100 or for like the sleeve blister packs. And then for anybody that's new, that's never not around, these are sleeve blisters. So just so everybody's aware, if I'm talking sleeve blisters, this is what they in the thing. This is what they're considered. These are sleeve blisters? Just so everybody's aware, because I know some people have asked about the ones with the plastic cover on them. No, that's not sleeve blisters. Those are just the check lane blisters. So it's an interesting conundrum. So if I'm going to buy something right now, long-term hold items are becoming very difficult to pinpoint at this point in time that I'm secure enough with buying. Now, we could look at Sword and Shield, and if you haven't been in the hobby for a long period of time and you haven't seen opportunities and investments at this point in time, are there Sword and Shield products that I would potentially buy? And my answer to that is yes. I do see some that are still fairly readily available that I think in the next couple of years will have some really good growth and some really good opportunities yet, that the risk reward is pretty low on them. For example, I would not be afraid to go buy Brilliant Stars still at this point in time. If you want to, so for example, I'll just give you the price right now online. for a Brilliant Stars booster box. So Brilliant Stars booster boxes currently are about $190. To me, Brilliant Stars is still a little bit undervalued currently in the Sword and Shield area. Not by a lot, but I feel I'd be more comfortable buying that than anything in Scarlet and Violet at this point in time for that long-term hold. If I'm looking for that 3 to 5 year hold or longer, Brilliant Stars to me has got some opportunity just because it's around that 200 or less. You can also look at Silver Tempest. I'll pull that open right now too because ETB's just finally sold out on Pokemon Center, so that's kind of changing. And Silver Tempest now is completely sold out on Pokemon Center because it was lingering for a long period of time. But you can still jump into that for about 165. To me, as a Sword and Shield set, I think that there's still a potential for that long-term growth on that particular item. But that's long-term. Scarlet and Violet, the opportunities worry me more than anything because of the potential reprint factor that could happen on any of those sets, any of them. Right now, if you want a short-term play, I have a couple of them that I could put forward. One Pokemon investment short-term play that I've been gazing at is TikTok. I'm going to put that out there. TikTok right now, and once again, I know some people won't go to TikTok. That's fine. If you have a buyer's account through TikTok, go and search Scarlet and Violet base set booster boxes. Even though they are selling currently on TCG Player for $122, so they're $122 on TCG Player, you can get them on TikTok for around $99 to $103. So right now they're next one available is, okay, we're at 121. So 120.50. So, and there's actually not very many of them at that price. There's 1, 2, 19. So there's 19 at that price. Then you're going to go, then you're going up to 125. So once again, if you could get a quick flip opportunity, you could do that for something. It'd give you potentially a little 5% boost. Possibly if you are willing to take the risk and sit on it a little bit, you might be able to get 10-15% out of that by buying it at that $99 a booster box, turning it around, and then reselling it again for 125, 130 as this market continues. But my caution of that, and why I say that's kind of a quick flip play and going to be a fast move if you're going to do it, is the one catch to that scenario is if we do get massive reprints of some of the more popular sets, like a restock reprint of Surging Sparks, or a restock reprint of Stellar Crown or Twilight Masquerade, the price of base set may fall. Because people are, I think, going to it more because of the fact that that's what's left rather than what they like. And that's a situation we did run into back in 2020. People were buying everything because they didn't get what they liked. They got what they could get. And that's exactly what we're kind of seeing a little bit here right now at this point in time. How long will this last? I don't know. I'm assuming that Pokemon's probably doing its darndest to try and get the whatever's going on moving again. Can I see them allowing these things to continue to drop? No. And I think that that's a big factor. And Scarlet and Violet just doesn't have anything in it that I'm willing to put away for long term. There's no pricing that I'm comfortable with at this point in time right now. And there's nothing really that I am personally willing to put any amount of money on with the way the current market is going. I'm more amped to dump at this point some of this product rather than sitting and buying in and holding it for the long term, because if we get massive reprints and the hype is moved beyond those sets, the catch 22 is once the hype kind of moves beyond those sets, we no longer have people going after them. So for example, when Prismatic Evolutions falls and finally hits the floor in January 2025 here, is Surging Sparks, if it gets a massive reprint, going to have the demand enough to drive those prices back up out of a reprint? If we get Team Rocket set coming in the near future, or that Gym Challenge set coming here in the right like Gimbo Slice, welcome in, by the way. He just put on there SB09. I'd rather wait for SB09. And I agree. I think that waiting for the next set is going to give you better potential at this point in time than anything right now that's available in the current market. But when that Gym Challenge set hits, or that Team Rocket set hits, or any of the other sets coming up here, when they hit, is the demand of a massive reprint of Surging Sparks, Twilight Masquerade, or Stellar Crown going to bring enough demand to increase the price to be profitable? That's the thing that we have to look at when you're looking at those long-term investments. And if you are in for a long-term investment and those reprints do hit, if we get reprints of those particular sets, that would be the time and where I would be more interested in jumping in on them and getting them on that low, what may be the ultra low price of those particular items as they roll out, just because of the fact that when they roll out, nobody's going to be there. They're going to be ahead, and you can go back and get those other ones from behind when they go down in price if a reprint happens. At this point, the risk reward factor is just not there for me to want to jump in on that. And it's just not something that I am currently comfortable on telling anybody that there's anything out there. Quick flip wise, just like any market, there's always opportunity. There's always a potential. But the problem with any of those opportunities or potentials are the risk reward factors of each one of those. If the risk reward becomes too disproportionate, it becomes it isn't worth it any longer. So you could take the risk of buying, right now at this point in time, go buy Twilight Masquerade or Stellar Crown. You could do it and hope that it doesn't get a reprint, because if it doesn't get a reprint, yes, the price could go to 250 pretty easily. But if it gets a reprint, this is where the risk really comes in, is the risk of a reprint coming in and then driving that price right through the floor. So that's just the problem is that the risk reward is becoming really, really, really high, just super high. And the risk is just becoming too high if you aren't in there anymore. So, like I said, that's just my personal opinion right now. If you're looking at Pokemon investments, they're kind of drying up for those long-term holds for sure. Personally, 151, I still will always say if you can get 151 at MSRP anywhere, it's definitely worth the buy. It just does fantastic. Even if this next box that's coming out, the final box for 151, is bringing a reprint with it, I feel like the market would absorb 151. It kind of feels like Evolving Skies. You just could keep feeding the machine and it would keep eating it up. To this day, people still buy 151, and while I'm sitting here, I'm willing to bet I got 2 orders that just came through, and I'm willing to bet they're probably both for 151 products that I have listed on TikTok right now. So it's just a continuous move. If I can get it at MSRP or less, then I come back and the pricing is better, or I can sell it for more than what I get it for at MSRP. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It keeps going. So one of them is Surging Sparks. I got Surging Sparks. The last little bit of Surging Sparks is this little pile right here. That's all that I've got left for Surging Sparks, and it's gone. And then, 151 is still a very, very good buy. So basically, that's what I want to talk about, guys. It's becoming very difficult to find them long-term holds. You're looking for some short-term plays. There is some short-term plays. There's some opportunity to get those flips and that income part of things. But it's just not going to be as easy overall to continue to move forward with that. It's going to start drying up. It's going to become more and more difficult to find even those quick plays, because even quick plays, by the time you get product in and then ship product out, you're running that risk on that little time period as well, that they could announce a reprint. And once they announce a reprint, a lot of times the market will dive right with that as well. So even the announcement of a reprint can be enough sometimes to kill and slow down that market. So once again, I just want to kind of go over that with you guys. I want you guys to hear it from me that, I just don't see the long-term plays right now. I think that a lot of stuff right now is just getting a little bit out of control until we get past this reprint section. And if we start getting product and start getting stuff, then we could really start to address and assess where we are at that point in time. But for the investment side, really difficult. Business-wise, if you have product right now, great time to sell. I mean, you could be selling into this market like crazy right now and be making very good profitability. If you were buying stuff, back this summer, like we talked about, summertime, restock, rebuild, and stuff everything in every corner you can. And now you're sell into these kind of markets. So now this is where you can sell until you get back all your money and keep whatever's left over. That could be your long-term investment and a great opportunity in the future. So basically, that's what I have, guys, right now. Just be really, really cautious out there. Don't get invested into something that's very, very expensive. Don't get invested in the surging sparks at this point, in my opinion. If you want to put a little bit money into it and buy a couple booster boxes, if you're afraid there'll never be a reprint, you could. It's just the risk reward factor of that could be very, very long term and detrimental to your long term movements futuristically. It's an opportunity cost. How much more are these Scarlet and Violet sets going to move before a reprint is announced or before more product comes back and hits the shelf? That's really the question that you need to be asking when it comes down to that. And so it'll be really interesting to see overall where this will be here. What we'll be talking about come rotation in March, because a lot can happen between now and March as we're going into 2025. So all right, so we're through the rant part of it. I only took a quarter of the time. We're not doing too bad. Third of the time, just like normal. Go through chat once again. PokeInvest, thank you so much for dropping in. Make sure you guys are joining. Make sure you hit that like button too. Greatly appreciate it. It helps out the stream quite a bit. Shrug Nasty, thank you so much for dropping in as well. Ma, welcome in as well. Gimbo Slice. Be Purple Poker, thank you so much for dropping in as well. El Dorado, I don't know if I'm saying that one right, but thank you so much for dropping in. And we're going to go ahead and start going through the questions. If you guys have questions, of course, put them up there. If you guys think of something, or if you guys have any questions on what I think about an investment in a piece, if you think it's worth it, I can do some research here real quick and we can kind of go over it to decide if there is something or not. And we can definitely look at that part of it as well. Be Purple Poker, I'm done with the hobby for a while. It's just not fun anymore. Yeah, it's some people. I still find it fun. I mean, you don't have to, if you're just set on collecting or investing, it may not be as much fun. But I think the problem is that for me, I actually play the meta and stuff like that, so it's still enjoyable. I'm finding other facets in the hobby. I do still enjoy doing streaming. Streaming is fun to open up packs for other people. It's fun because I get my pack opening fix, but I don't get the hits to keep them, but I still get to get the hits by pulling them on the pack. So it's an enjoyable experience for me. And then, of course, going and playing on the weekends with my kids, actually playing the Pokemon TCG is a lot of fun as well. Seeing how these decks are working, seeing deck creation, and understanding how that meta works is a lot of fun to really build up and feel what people are after, what the playing is, and how that actually functions and works. So let's see here. Got a couple things here. Gimbo Slice, what do you think SV9 will cost for you with distro? I'm assuming I'll have to pay 150 to 130 ish as a typically right now on release for me it's about 103. So even right now, so the last booster box set that I got, it's always about 103 my cost. 102.31. So 102.31 has been the last few releases. That's even Scarlet and Violet is 102.31 for me as well. So realistically, I think that that's pretty much what we're going to be seeing for me, anyways, consistently at distro, just because I'm not getting the volume like some of the other bigger streamers and things. I know some individuals sit there and say that they get it for a lot less. Some of them say they get them for 96. Some say 92. So I'm okay with it being at 103 though. There's still enough of a markup, especially for streaming. But I've been buying less. I buy one case of booster boxes for myself or two, and then I put them away. And then I buy a lot of sleeve blisters because I like the sleeve blisters for the streaming aspect. Originally, I was in the booster boxes because people really like booster boxes, but it tends to be where the sleeve blisters seem to draw more crowds because of the fact that they more randomness on the pulls. So it seems like one box usually has at least one SIR inside of it, so you're at like a 1 in 44 chance of hitting an SIR, which some people do enjoy. It's the Surging Sparks. Every booster or the two boxes I opened here, we hit an SIR in each one of them. One of them was the Melotech, the other one was the Alolan Exodor. So we did hit one gold inside of there, one secret or SIR, one of the bigger SIRs. So each case has one of those bigger SIRs in it, and then a bunch of the trainers, full art trainers, and things like that. Of course, we're in there. Full art SIR trainer is in that box. So 144 box sleeve blister is actually kind of fun because you do usually get an SIR. I'm never going to say always because there are always that stipulation where someone didn't get one. But the other two cases, I don't know. So every case that I've opened so far, I've hit an SIR, whether it was in the 3 cases we opened in Temporal Forces, the 3 cases we opened in Twilight Masquerade, and the 3 cases we opened in Stellar Crown. All three, every case I've opened so far has gotten an SIR out of it. It's gotten an SIR Pokemon, an SIR trainer, and a gold Pokemon in each one of, or a gold card in every one of them. So it has been pretty consistent for that, and that makes it a lot of fun when it comes down to knowing that you are chasing an SIR in a box. So it's just a matter of which one it is. Of course, if you're looking for a specific one, the numbers change. If you're specifically going for that Pikachu, it changes that as well. But about 103. 103 is going to be the cost per booster box. Now I went on my side tangent. So 103 is about my distribution cost for a booster box right now. Be Purple Poker. It's all just buy and sell, hold. And I already have the cards I want. So yeah, even like the content just is stale. Everyone says the same thing all the time. Well, we're going to. I mean, if you're following Pokemon investment, unless someone has a really, really lucky streak, I think at this point in time, the only time you're going to get different opinions realistically, probably in Pokemon investment at this point in time, where we're not talking about similar things or similar cards or similar movements, is if you find someone who's new to the YouTube space. I overall, I think a lot of us have had enough years of experience in here that we watch market trends, we understand market trends, we understand when to buy, when not to buy, and we're all going to give you very similar advice right now in this particular market. I'm sure there's someone out there right now saying the exact same thing that I am, and I'm sure there's someone out there right now saying the complete opposite, that they're buying in this stuff. Even in 2020 and 2021, that was one of the reasons I started doing this, was because I kept hearing people say, buy this, buy this, buy this. It's going to the moon. It's great. It's fantastic. And a lot of times it was for me, stop, 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 because Pokemon doesn't work this way. You know, yes, we're in a weird funk, and guess what happened to all them sets? People were sitting there, and I'll say it right now, Pokevault, perfect example. Go buy Vivid Voltage at $220 because it's going to the moon. Well, yeah, until they got a reprint, and then it dropped all the way down to $115, and it's still not back. So if anybody that was buying these booster boxes at 120 and 220 and 250 still have not gotten any return on a Vivid Voltage booster box, even a case of them, they have not gotten a return on those particular boxes. But just take a look too. Now we're starting to see, because of the lack of product here, we're starting to see some of those sets do extremely well also. Just so everybody, if anybody's not watching, Vivid Voltage currently right now. So I'll pull it up today, but I was looking the other day, Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze. All of these things are just starting to move, and they've moved probably 10 to 15% in the last month. So Vivid Voltage now. So at the beginning of October, we were at about 140. We're up to 148. So you see about a $48 gain there. Doesn't seem like a lot. That one's a little bit slower on that one, but Darkness Ablaze is actually the one I was noticing earlier this week. Something I forgot because and the only reason I pulled it up is I was cleaning and I found a booster box of it. So I was kind of curious to see what it's been doing as well. So it was down, and now it's all the way back up to 155. So it was up higher. And in the last year, if you take a look at it too, it's just kind of consistently moving up. It's not moving up a ton, but it's still having a consistent growth, which is kind of nice to see. And I'm looking here on TCG Player, and it's not as much. So I guess it's kind of deceiving. So I'm looking at TCG Player, and the last sales were sitting here at about 155, but then they don't count shipping. But I'm looking, there's one for sale now for 150 is the next one for sale, but there's $9 shipping on it. So there again, you're actually sitting at about that 160 range, which is giving you a little bit better as well. So yeah, it's funny that these are the things we got to be looking at and continually watching, is as markets kind of die out where we don't have this product around any longer, it tends to be people are concentrating it on the hype, and then as the hype is gone, they float and they try and find the most reasonable price. Because in a way, it's not in a way, it is for some people, it's absolutely an addiction. So they need to open packs. And some people don't care what they open. Some people just want to open something. And when that happens, they will literally just go and buy the cheapest pack sometimes. They're trying to get a hit. They're trying, it's like they're always trying to get that hit. So once again, we sit there and we look and you watch, and I feel like this could be a reminiscence of, you know, Sword and Shield in a way. My concern is reprints coming and completely dousing this market, and then the hype and FOMO move on to Prismatic Evolutions, and Prismatic Evolutions goes through. Everybody's focused on that, and then these reprints happen, and the price dumps for a long period of time until something causes people to go back again, and that's the real thing that you got to be looking at. So, seems about 26 people out there, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you guys are hanging with us. It helps out a lot on the stream. It'd be greatly appreciated, and doesn't cost you anything to hit that little like button there and help it out a little bit. So thank you guys for that. Let's see here. One last one for next one from B Purple Poker. BIUs, Gold Stars, long-term play. I think so. I think Gold Stars will do extremely well futuristically. They always do. All these vintage cards are now just back in that consistent rhythm. They're kind of like your blue chip stocks. They just they move and they continue to move up nice and slow. Even pre-boom to now, they went up, they kind of came back down, and now they're just slowly growing. And all of them are doing that. So if it's one of those things, if you're looking for that growth and you're trying to get in on the growth, I think that still vintage have that nostalgic feeling that are very comfortable for people. And we do see consistent growth. You see things continually going up nicely. And overall, I think the value will still be there futuristically when it comes down to that. All right. So we got Mountain Peak. Thank you so much for joining in. So glad I had time to watch one of these lives finally. I love the content. Normally the live streams are just a tad bit too late for me. Keep it up though. Sounds good, Mountain Peak. And like I said, good news is you can always go back and watch it. So it's always a great thing for that. But yeah, thank you so much, Mountain Peak, for jumping in. Greatly appreciated to have you in here for sure. Enjoy seeing all the regulars in here and new people coming in all the time with discussions and things that are happening here in the Pokemon TCG. And like I said, right now we're kind of looking at why is Pokemon not printing? That's the real question, I think, of the day. Are they putting? I mean, I would say that they're putting a lot into Prismatic Evolutions, but everybody's allocations are going away. So if they're not able to get allocations, what are they printing? Where is their time and their machines? Like someone pointed out at the beginning here, is it the fact that the machines are busted? I don't know. Ma just put up here at the beginning that, isn't an issue and explain the lack of production is if if they're batches or some machine issues. And maybe it's a material issue. I don't know. It's just bizarre that we went from being, even the print runs kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it doesn't feel like it's getting better on Prismatic Evolutions from what we're seeing. Granted, we know a lot more people are buying Prismatic Evolutions for like sports card people, some of the bigger people, bigger accounts that would normally not buy Pokemon are buying Prismatic Evolutions, which are taking the allocations away from some of the the shops and the stores and all that. But the fact of the matter is that they still don't seem to be printing enough of that to justify why they're not able to make reprints of or make larger prints of Surging Spark, Twilight Masquerade, even Stellar Crown, with it being disappearing the way it is. This is all just a really interesting conundrum that we're in that just really doesn't make sense in a way, unless there's some, number one, material issues and they're not able to get a material, or they're not able to get something that they need, or B, there is something else that's happening that we're just not foreseeing and they're really printing heavy. Maybe they're already printing Team Rocket. I have no idea. It'd be unbelievable to think that they would be, but maybe they're already printing another set ahead of Prismatic Evolutions, thinking that they're trying to get ahead of the last few sets of the Pokemon TCG and Scarlet and Violet. Or I don't know. It's just weird that at our distributor level, everything is just so empty. I mean, 6-pack. Realistically, the only thing that I could really get that's pretty easy are check lane blisters, but like Mason and I talked about the last time, it's like, so let's see, if I were to buy, so they got Paradox Rift, just for example, and this is just a going rate, it's sitting right here at the top, so I'm going to use it. It's $59 roughly for that, and you get 16 check lane blisters. So you're talking, my cost on those is $369 a check lane blister. But yet, if I go to TCG Player and I put in Paradox Rift, and I go in and do check lane blister, and I just grab whichever one. Oh, that's the 3-pack one. I don't want the 3-pack one, but yeah. So I grab these right now. The 3-pack ones are actually the ones where the money's at, but I can't. They don't ever have them listed on distributors, so I don't know. Those must go only through MJ Holding. Paradox. So yeah, it's just bizarre. I mean, even like these. So if I go with the check lane blisters, let me grab those real quick. So if I go there, they're right now they're on sale for $4.99. So you've got $4.99 minus, 3.69, $1.30 in them realistically when you're talking about that, but that's only if someone buys multiples. So if I gotta put them in a shipping envelope plus lose, minus 15%, gonna lose 15%. So off of that $1.30, I'm going to lose another 22 cents off of that, minus a blister or minus a shipping, plus minus the actual shipping cost. I mean, if someone buys one, I'm dead. Even if they pay the $1.99 for the shipping, I'm going backwards on that. If they buy multiples, I'm okay. But if they buy one, I'm dead. I'll never make money on one. So yeah, it's just really interesting. Check lane blisters are still available. 3-pack blisters, some of those are available. I was actually going to look at those for like the Paldea Evolved and see if there was an opportunity potentially there, because those are still available on the site. But other than that, it's getting pretty dry unless you want like Shrouded Fable, though, is sold out. Just so you know, Shrouded Fable's gone. Like I said earlier, just kind of crazy. EX battle decks are available. I can get those. The booster packs, the trick or treat ones, I can get. Holiday calendars are still available up there. The Charizard EX Super Premium Collection box is available. Other than that, Summer Tins, the 2024 Summer Tins, the Tyranitar Gardevoir one is there, and the pencil cases. So there are some things available. Last thing is Battle Academy. But see, it's getting really small. That the opportunity, the stuff that's available is becoming less and less, because even I think people like Mason at Cardinal Gaming, I'm sure, is starting to buy things just to get packs again. And that's what we saw in 2020, 2021, is they were literally buying all the obscure stuff because they were looking to put packs in the shop. And you got to try and keep the packs in the shop in order to get that. So, yes, very interesting situation that we were not foreseeing. Horizon, buy Crown Zenith, Sea and Sky before they're all gone. Sam's took it off the website. Great deal. Good long-term hold. And they've been sold out at ours now I went and picked up the last few of them about 2 weeks ago. So there was about 5 of them that showed up and I picked them up. So they have not been back. I have my friend down by Sam's Club and he checks periodically and they haven't come back. So they are not available currently at any place that I have access to. They've been off of their website for quite a while now that I've known of. So I agree that Sea and Skybox is really fun. I had 2 of them behind me and they sold for $80 a piece. So they are selling extremely well too for what you're picking them up for. But the hits in them, guys, are fantastic. Each one of those Sea and Sky, we opened all 3 of them actually on TikTok, and all 3 of them had fantastic hits. All the way we pulled one of them had a gold, or 2 of them had gold cards in them. One had the Palkia, and one had the Arceus card inside of one of them. And then we also hit a lot of the big Galarian galleries inside of them too. The Suicune was hit on one of them. The Raikou was hit. Raikou and Entei were in another one. So the hits on them are extremely heavy in those boxes as well, which makes them a lot of fun to open. I was lucky that both times, all of them that sold that I had here, the last 2 that I had here, when they sold, they were open. I've sold some sealed, but all 3 of them that we opened on the stream and that the person purchased them, I thought they were going to want them shipped and they wanted them open. They were fantastic, guys. Lots of fun. If you're looking for some Crown Zenith hits, definitely a great box to do it. I felt really good inside of that box, and I think it was a lot of fun. Be Purple Poker. Hello, I remember that. Yeah, and you know that was just it. I mean, it was the time. You know, at the time, people were really, I think, ramped up and revved up with the performance of the market. And just like anything, when you get into that performance factor and you start almost getting blindsided to what's happening around and what's happened previously, it can really be a factor for that. I mean, Pokemon runs through spurts and runs through these little deals of uphill, downhill, and trying to, you know, they run into issues. It seems like this happens every once in a while where they get kind of stagnant with production, and then all of a sudden production will pick up, and then they'll overproduce and they'll blow whatever production they're doing out of the water. Another one that I heard on another site, and this is just all tinfoil hat. Put on your tinfoil hat for this. Someone was speculating, and I don't know if they were speculating, but they were throwing out there, could Pokemon be using the U.S. facilities to print Japanese, Chinese, and Korean cards because of the level of demand currently in those three markets. It's an interesting concept, and it's not something that we've ever really thought about, but it is another potential that they could be doing. We did know that they were having problems keeping up with the Japanese printing facilities, keeping up with Japanese, Chinese, and Korean for a while there. So, did they potentially switch over the American printers to try and meet that demand? It's another concept or an idea that could be going around that might have some truth to it. But once again, without being on the inside or seeing some kind of shipments going out or seeing some scraps of that in a landfill someplace that actually has the different backs on it or the different language on it, it's definitely another thing that's going to be very difficult to prove or even know for sure. Could they be doing it? Absolutely. I mean, they own the printers. If they own Millennial Print Group, they could have Millennial Print Group printing the other languages right now and just trucking them out of here to try and keep up with the demand of that market. But once again, when you're talking about transporting those over the ocean in some kind of fashion and keeping them protected enough to where they're not getting damaged is really going to be a cost factor too for the Pokemon company if they're doing that. So, but they do ship ours to Britain. I mean, they print here for the UK. They print here for the Australian market. They print here for all the European markets, as far as I know. I've never been able to find or see anybody pointing out a European printing company or an Australian printing unit. So I still think that we're still seeing this all get shipped anyways. So if they have the logistical market to be able to ship to Australia, to Europe, then yeah, I definitely think that it's definitely something that could be done. And I think it's definitely something that could be happening. It's just going to be a long shot to actually be able to prove something like that. Like I said, that's 100% tin hat conspiracy. That was something that I was reading on Reddit. And is it plausible? Absolutely. And if that market's hotter than ours, why not? You own the printing machines, you could do it. I mean, it's just literally ink. So whatever they print on those cards is up to them, and what they run through those machines is up to them. But I would think they would have to have a big enough print run to fill up a pretty good portion of cargo containers in order to make that worth doing. So that's going to be the other part of it as well, or fly it in. I mean, when Watsy printed English originally, they flew it in on a plane, so they could be doing the exact same thing, flying it over there in a freight plane. So just depends on the quantities. Just depends on what they're doing. It's an interesting tin hat conspiracy. I don't have any proof. I don't know if it's even personally. I'm on the fence on whether or not they would actually do it. Especially when they're draining the English market pretty dry right now. It'd be really interesting on why they would completely shut down our lines and then print that, especially with more sets coming here as well. So, John Illinois, welcome on in. Thank you for joining. Oh, iFomo, thank you so much for dropping in as well. Glad to see you here in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us as well. Thank you for as always. John Illinois, he says I opened Korean and Japanese, haven't opened Chinese yet. So I've opened all three at this point, and I don't know. They're fun. They're fun little sets. We've opened a little bit on TikTok of all three sets now. I purchased them from a person in Hawaii that I get my Japanese from, and he had some Korean and some Chinese, and so I got some of them, and they were fun. There was a lot of fun to open those. Korean Yu-Gi-Oh is fun to open too. Have never opened any Yu-Gi-Oh really, except for a couple English packs here and there. I've never been into Yu-Gi-Oh myself. That was more my brother. My brother loved Yu-Gi-Oh and he played Yu-Gi-Oh. I never really did anything with it personally. I was a Magic and a Pokemon person, so I don't even know. I haven't opened up any recent packs even of Yu-Gi-Oh. So, but I know some people enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh, love it. So, I've heard that Mexico prints Spanish Pokemon cards, but this is hearsay. Yeah, I know, and that's just it too. Maybe they do. I'm not 100%. I don't know. I haven't heard so far. I've only know personally. I know of two printing facilities for Pokemon, and it's Japan and then Millennial Print Group over here on the East Coast of the United States. So I really know of two for sure. So there's one. I know the name of the town in Japan too. So I know where the two print facilities are for the Japanese market, and I know the one for the English market. I don't know if they have one in England, in Mexico, or in Europe. If they do, I haven't heard about it. I haven't been able to pinpoint those. I kind of did some research on that about a year ago, and I couldn't find any other ones. I think the time before Mason was on here, we were talking about that, and it's definitely it's definitely be interesting if they did. But we know of those two. Mason and I both knew of those two, and that's what we had been talking about. Even with that is the fact that you know the Japanese print facility took on so much with that Chinese market and Korean market that we were really wondering if they were keeping up. And if that's the fact that they're not keeping up and can't keep up, then it's definitely going to then they could definitely turn on the American market for or the American print facility for doing it. I just don't know if there's any value in doing that. That's the real question. It's really a question of what are they doing? Because I mean we can't get product, and when we can't get product, I mean it's just a bizarre issue when we're in 2020 going into 2025. I mean it's not like it's COVID. I don't think monkeypox is screwing up the mpox. Sorry, mpox is screwing up the distribution or the processing or the material flow again. I know on any of our business stuff right now, we're not having any supply chain issues at this point in time. It's been pretty pretty consistent now. Um, so yeah, I don't know, and I only knew of two print facilities as of right now. Maybe iPhone was right. Maybe they do have one in Mexico that's printing. I don't know of it, and I've never been able to find that. And I've never been able to find one in the European or the Australian area either. So obviously they must be shipping. Well, we do know that they do get shipped from America to um, England. I do know that for sure because I had a friend in a distributor. He's still there. I mean, he works for a distributor where he'd heard that they were doing that reprint of Brilliant Stars, Evolving Skies, and all that. We thought we were getting it in our market, and it ended up going to England instead. So we didn't get it, but England did. So it was printed in the United States. Local distributors have heard about it being printed, and then found out it was going to the UK. That was for the UK market, not for the English market. So we do know that they print here for the UK market, but I don't know about like French, German, Italian. I don't know where they print those either. Are they printing those and maybe running backlog of that? I don't know. It's just we're not getting the product in the English market right now, and the distributing side of things is showing that very heavily. Grim the Nerd, thank you so much for dropping in. Glad to see you here, bud. John Illinois says Fossil is my favorite set back in the day. Yep. I used to really enjoy Fossil. Like I said, I was always a Fossil fan because well, you get a lot of cool cards inside of that particular set. Jungle is still one of my favorite ones, but it always looked like they used the chainsaw to cut it. I still to this day I always laughed whenever we'd open up jungle packs was because you'd open up a booster box and you'd have some that were fairly decent, really good, and then you had some jungle packs that were literally you were like brushing the cardboard flakes because they were inside the packs. So jungle was an absolute disaster back in the day. And I know people don't open enough of them in a row to really see that any longer. They open 1 pack or 2 packs, but man, you used to open a booster box or two. Sometimes we'd open 4, and there was just tons of them. So okay, so iPhone, according to Chat GPT, there is a printing facility in Belgium. Well, and Chat GPT is going to pull up everything it can. Did they find one in any other places? Because I did not know about the one. That would make sense. Then you'd have a European market. So yeah, never heard of that one, and I don't know when they brought that online. Maybe it's been, like I said, it was about a year ago that I was trying to find other print facilities. That's when I knew about the Japanese and the town that that's in, and then I knew about the Millennial Print Group, of course, when that all happened. I remember Jungle in the blisters at Toys R Us when they came out. Yeah, I remember getting blisters all the time. It was always fun. Jungle was a lot of all in all, it was always a lot of fun back then. You really didn't care about cards like you do now, for sure. It says other region, but Pokemon Company is not willing to disclose it. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I only knew of 2 for sure about a year ago. I could only find information on 2. It wouldn't surprise me if they had one somewhere in Europe. It would make more sense, but I do know a year ago or 2 years ago that ours from United States were going to Britain. I do know that for sure. So we do know that it was getting transported over to Britain for UK, but then again, that's English again. So one facility prints all the English, that would make sense as well. That would go to Canada, Australia, America, and go over to the UK. And then you'd have the one in Belgium, if that one was then there, that would print like German, French, and Italian probably. And it really would make sense to have one in Mexico as well, printing all the Spanish versions as well. But I don't know. You'd think that the English mark or the English printer would be able to handle the Spanish market because it's really not it's a decent market, but it's not as big as some other ones. So could you imagine how screwed the EU would be if it got our sloppy? Oh man, yeah, no kidding, right? They get the dulled out blades and everything. Yeah, that's just it. I don't know. Kind of interesting. I might have to do more research on that one again. Maybe that make a good video to sit down and actually break that down again. Check it out and see if they've opened up or changed new print facilities because that would be an interesting part as well. Um, Let me see here. Grim the Nerd. If you had to guess what percent of Scarlet and Violet sets won't be reprinted, what number would you land on? Seems like they are struggling to keep up. I would probably say 40% will not. If I had to guess, I'd say 40% won't. I don't think we're going to see a Scarlet and Violet reprint. I don't think we're going to see a Paradox Rift, a Temporal Forces, or a Obsidian Flame reprint. That would be my feel. Um, Even Paldea Evolved, I'm up in the air about. I think we're more likely to see a Temporal Forces than we are in Paldea Evolved at this point. So I would say 40%. I think 40% of the sets aren't going to get a reprint at this point in time if I had to put a number on it. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Grim the Nerd is if you watch the video, if you watch the live again at the beginning, kind of started talking about that is what is Pokemon doing that they can't keep up? They're printing 9 billion cards a year for the last 3 years. Why can we not print enough right now to keep up with the demand? There's no way they're printing 9 billion cards for just a US market right now. Even half of that's not coming. Surging Sparks is obvious that is another obvious key that there's something going on and there's a reason why they're not printing enough. And it's not a demand issue. I don't think that they didn't print that much Surging Sparks because of demand. Some people speculated it was a demand and they underprinted to try and compensate for loss of demand. But I don't believe that at all either because we were seeing a huge demand increase starting with Temporal Forces and increasing into Twilight Masquerade, getting heavier into Shrouded Fable, or not Shrouded Fable, Crappy and Shrouded Fable, and then heavier again into Stellar Crown, and then Surging Sparks was already getting super demand on the pre-orders and everything else on that. So I find it very hard to believe that they had downsized Surging Sparks to that level unless something else was going on and preventing them from being able to get to that point. That is just, it just seems odd. Why would they be, as the market is increasing, why would they be, why would they be decreasing how much they're printing? It doesn't make sense. Your market's going up, you're going to go up with it. You're going to try and keep up. You're not going to drop and try and reduce print as demand. I mean, they didn't print enough Twilight Masquerade, which was 2 sets prior to Surging Sparks, and they knew that they didn't print enough because the demand was so high on that chase, and they saw it again in Stellar Crown occurring. Why wouldn't they have increased and instead short printed Surging Sparks compared? And I've talked to the distributor rep. Surging Sparks has by far been the least printed set of all of the Pokemon sets so far. So something caused that to happen. But what? We don't know, and I don't know if we'll ever know. All I can say is that I'd be really concerned about a massive reprint of that. That would be my only part. Hey, Pika Pika, welcome on in. Glad to see you here, bud. Hopefully you're having a good evening. So, yeah, something caused something. I think something else is causing it. I don't know what it is. That is just my biggest thing is. So, and that's the other question is this continuing into prismatic evolutions as well? I just saw Pika Pika bring that up as well. He says, I can't get any more prismatic evolutions because it's too high demand. So I'm just waiting for the next set. Yeah, and that's something that's occurring at this point in time. But once again, as Mason was on here 2 weeks ago, and now Mason did a video on it. As of right now, I have not seen my allocations change, but they do have the stars next to it, which makes me concerned that I'm fingers crossed I'm going to be able to get everything we ordered through, because I've got it 3 different places right now trying to get it. So hopefully between those 3 places, I get everything out of it. And I don't care if I get all of it. It doesn't bother me because I know on the streaming side, whatever I get, I'm going to burn if I don't want to keep it. So how much is Prismatic Evolutions? I've been seeing everywhere from $100 to $140 in ETB currently. I even think if I go to TCG Player right now, I think the last time I looked, it was like $140. If I remember right. I'm going to look right now. So if I go Prismatic Evolutions, what's an ETB right now? Oh, 106. So 106 right now on TCG Player. I've seen as high as $140. So yeah, I know. And that's just it. So I'm hoping that by spreading between 3 different sources that I am able to get everything that we've got going right now. So right now all of our money's in one, but I worked with 2 other ones and I'm hoping that we can get that all pulled away. Let's see here. iFOMO says, right, no BB. Yeah, no booster boxes in this set. There are no booster boxes in this set. The other thing is too is make sure that your payment stuff is right for the Pokemon Center booster box or ETBs as well. So just so everybody's aware, we if you do order through there, you're gonna have to make sure your payment information is correct, because if you don't have your payment right, you could be in trouble with that one. You don't want to lose that. You definitely don't want to lose that. So right now I'm just looking. Yeah, so is that 1? Please tell me that's not just 1. Oh, it is 1. Holy cow. So right now, the Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box is going for $490 if you want one. So make sure that your payments are right and you have the money in the account. If you're making sure you want to get that thing, I mean, because some of us, I hope I get the 4, 2 at least, but I'm hoping I get my 4 that I ordered. But make sure your stuff is all in place to be able to capture that. You don't want to lose that Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, because That's going to be a huge number. That's going to be a huge sale for anybody right now. Broken Avatar. Welcome on in. Thank you for joining. Did you say you're located in Hayward? Was just there for Thanksgiving. Well, welcome to Northwoods. Yes, I am. I live close to Hayward. I don't live in Hayward. Hayward's probably the biggest town besides Ladysmith that's next to me. But I live in a really small town called Radisson. So it's close to Hayward. I put Hayward just because a lot of people that are tourists know Hayward. So yeah, I am from the Hayward area. I work in Hayward every day. So let's see. Pika Pika, the next closest hope is to get prismatic is if Pokemon Center releases more PC ETBs. Exactly. What? No way. PCs over ETBs. Yeah. 490 bucks right now. Pre-order a prismatic evolutions um Pokemon Center ETB right now on TCG Player. It's TCG Player. This is all pre-order stuff, but just so you know, it's $490. There is way more windows of opportunity through 2025. Exactly. Right now that's my biggest point is I'm gonna point out to anybody is that it may be dry now, and if you're dry, this is kind of a seller's market right now. If you've been holding things and you've been looking for that opportunity to sell things, now is a great time to do that. Right now is a very good, strong seller's market for anybody out there. So if you are trying to recoup some capital and maybe keep some product behind, now is a great time. People are buying like crazy. It's selling like nuts. Everything sells quick. So if you have the right price and you're at a good medium price, you're making good profit on it and you're happy with that, you'll probably sell fairly quickly. So just so you know, this right now is a very heavy seller's market. I don't think enough people are selling currently to really help out the market as much as we would like to see, but it's definitely a seller's market currently at this point in time. Michael Lee, what's your prismatic allocations looking like? How much? So So right now, my allocations are doing okay. I've got enough to cover all of the pre-orders that we worked with everybody to get. Am I going to have much over that? I don't know. Am I going to get all of it? I don't know. I still have the asterisk marks next to my numbers, which means they're not for sure's yet. So I'm hoping that we get them locked in here by the first of the year, that asterisk goes away. And once that asterisk goes away, then that tells me that they are locked in and ready to rock and roll. That's what I'm getting. They have lowered two of mine, but I am through three different sources with it. And with being with three different sources, I'm hoping to have all the allocations that we have, all the pre-orders that we worked with you guys to get. So as of right now, I'm hoping I get it all. That's my looking at right now is that I'm going to lose my streaming side more and more, which is acceptable. I'd rather get you the product at this point in time. I'll have enough through streaming to be able to get that. I've got some other sources that I've kind of got lined up to see what I can do and get it. I'm just the most I can get, the more I can get, the better. So I'm hoping I get well over what we have ordered because between everybody here on YouTube that joined in on the Discord and jumped in on that, we had 120 or 130 ETBs that I have to try and get for that. Right now, my allocation looks like I'm at about 160, 170 roughly. So I am hoping that will hold and that I'll be able to maintain at least that number if I can. I'm hoping to hold that number. That's kind of where I want to be. That way I got some for the streaming side and to be able to, the 130 is for my investment side too. So I wanted to put away at least two cases at the first wave here just to put them away and maybe I'll burn them, maybe I won't. I'll make that decision as we go. How much spend with distro? I mean, we put in about $6,000 in a distro, 6 or 7 grand. So whatever it was on that, it was, yeah, it's about 7,000 with everything. So, Pika Pika, the Surging Sparks, Pokemon Center ETB is only in the 100s. Yeah, I know, and that's great. Prismatic Evolutions is gonna be nuts. Question. Is the 151 Pokemon Center ETB still undervalued? It's the rarest 151 product. and is nearly the same price as the UPC. People forgot regular Hidden Fates ETBs worth $300 plus. Do I think it's undervalued? I don't know. I think the problem with part of the problem is with Pokemon 151. I'm going to be 100% honest. It just has gotten reprinted enough to where I think it's been detrimental to some of those high end products, because I think the people that wanted that. So right now it's $270, $254 is the next listed price for the Pokemon Center exclusive ETB for 151. Hidden Fates, I don't remember if you're talking HF. Are you talking Hidden Fates? Because I don't remember Hidden Fates ever. Maybe peak of boom, it was up that high at $300, but I don't. Right now, it's not even close to that price for Hidden Fates. I don't think. I remember being around 250 at one point. I mean, they're about $200 right now for a Hidden Fates ETB, so they've come up a little bit as well. But yeah, I don't know if they're really undervalued currently. I think the Prismatic Evolutions ones are way overvalued currently. When those hit the market, I think the pricing on those will probably fall fairly quickly. And I think the same thing with the ETBs. I mean, being a upper $100 ETB without even release on pre-orders, I think is a little bit crazy for an ETB price, especially on something that could be reprinted multiple times. It'll be interesting to see if we do, when we get in reprints of that, and what that would do to the market as well. Who knows? Everybody has it in their mind and in their head right now that it is Evolving Skies. So there is so much hype and FOMO around Prismatic Evolutions just because of Evolving Skies. Everybody wants the next Evolving Skies. The question is this is a specialty set. This isn't a booster box set. So will they print this thing to death? Is this something that we will see like Shining Fates, that every 4 months they're going to dump another big wave over and over and over and over again? And are those waves ever going to be enough to cause market fluctuation or push that market back down in that downward position? That's really the things you have to be looking at with Prismatic Evolutions is, and this is going to take a lot of foresight, and it's all speculating on what Pokemon International is going to do. Are they going to stomp it and continue to stomp it like they did with Hidden Fates, like they did with Shining Fates? I don't know. Or we see this happen with Paldean Fates. We still haven't seen a reprint of Paldean Fates either. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I could just see it going a couple different ways when it comes down to that. So yeah, I think that there's a little bit of hype and FOMO behind that set, but will be interesting to see in 2 years where we are in that set and if it is comparable to Evolving Skies at that point in time as well. Michael Lee, thoughts on Obsidian Flame? So let me pull that up real quick. I know it's been going up again on that. Oh, let's see. I'll look it up because I just like giving real numbers on this stuff. So I'll pull open Obsidian Flame booster boxes. I mean, right now we're still sitting at, it's been a nice slow gain on that one as well. You know, we go back 1 year and it was about $100 booster box. I remember last year on TikTok, I was telling people you could use coupons and get Obsidian Flame for like $87 shipped to your house. And now we're up to about 130, 131. The next one listed here is going to be 135. So we are seeing some gains on that as well. I think all of them are going up in price. I think a lot of it is like I've said earlier in the live, a lot of it is people are just falling into the next available cheap product. And it's always that next available cheap product, that next available cheap product. And, you know, then what we're going to eventually start seeing, I think, at some point here is you're going to see Obsidian Flame get to like 140, like we talked about. That stair stepping will start to occur as well, which is something that may start to happen as well. When you see unpopular sets start to open because the market demand is there, but the product isn't, and they're just wanting to open to get their fix, you're going to see Obsidian Flame spike. Because, okay, well, we got a Charizard hunt. So Obsidian Flames will go to like 150. And then it'll stop because people are going to go, well, I can go back and I can get base set now and get my fix for 125. and then they'll push that up to 125. And then they'll sit there and they'll go and do that with the next set, and we'll see that stair stepping all the way up. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, until if we get reprints. Once again, we are still in a potential for a reprint market. It's just a matter of when and if we will see them. I hope we do in some ways, um, to try and re-satisfy this market, to bring it back more realistic at this point. Because I'm afraid that people are going to get too crazy and then spend way too much money on expensive stuff and then get stuck with it for a long period of time with no movement on it. And if you don't mind that, then go buy anything you want right now, because it could be stuck for a while if you don't care, and do it, buy what you want. But if you're working at that investment with that or liquidity to it, you definitely don't want to be buying in this current market right now, in my opinion. Weedle Farm, OG Weedle Farm, thank you so much for dropping in. He says, same as you say. Thank you, sir. Michael Lee, all the YouTubers are saying there's no supply. What have you been selling? There is no supply. That was what we started this with. There is no supply right now. Right now currently distribution is down to bare bones. We are literally getting to the point in distribution where we need to start looking at alternatives to get some of the packs that we want. So there is very little. There's no booster boxes left. There's no ETBs left at this point in time. There are down to 3 different types of the 144 pack sleeve blisters. And unless you want, then the only ETB that's available, I should say, is base set. So basically, we're getting down to the bare bones. Now, even like myself, I'm starting to weigh if blister packs are now becoming valuable at this point in time when it comes down to some of these Scarlet and Violet sets. Because if the price of the packs start going close to $5 because of the fact that we can't get them, now we're starting to look at that stuff. And that's a big thing. How do you pay the bill? What do you mean, how do I pay the bill? So currently on TikTok, I'm selling literally everything. The biggest, hottest things that are selling, Surging Sparks, 151. Both of those I can sell for really big profit. Other stuff is Sword and Shield starting to pick up again. It kind of died through the summer. Now I got people buying Lost Origin. Silver Tempest is becoming really, really popular. I sold out of Fusion Strike now. I sold out of Brilliant Stars. So sales-wise, Sword and Shield is starting to pick up extremely heavy at this point in time. So paying the bills is coming down to, a lot of times, 151 is doing a really good job. Plus all the stuff I packed in over the summertime, like we were talking about back in June, July, and August. Sales are slow those months, so that's when I'm stuffing the corners. I'm buying product, I'm putting product away, I'm buying it at low pricing because people are trying to sell it because they don't want to sit on it any longer. That's where we were talking about back then, is in a business sense, that was the time to start filling your coffers and building up that reserve for this time of the year, because Christmas, New Year, Christmas all the way through tax season is our heaviest selling. Now you don't want to be buying. You want to be in position to be selling now. If you're trying to buy currently, you're out of position. So I hope that answers it. I mean, paying the bills is really coming down to the stock we've built up. Currently, I'm almost out of 151 mini tins. Crown Zenith tins are selling really well. That's why they're here. I've got the sleeve blisters are all here. Them are selling left. This is what I got left for Surging Sparks. That's going away. I have 2 3-pack blisters, and one of them just sold while we were sitting here. So realistically, the sales are just continuous through TikTok right now. I got a whole pile of 151 collection boxes just out of view. So those are the things that are paying the bills right now. That's what's making the money is getting those products and getting them out there and getting them available for profit. So I'll zoom out. So there you go. I can zoom out just a little bit here. So if you look right there, we've got all the 151 products. I just picked these up on Friday, and you can already see they're disappearing. So every day I'm pulling those products. And for example, on TikTok, because I don't mind selling on TikTok because they got coupons. The collection boxes right now are selling for $29.99. The Zapdos boxes are selling for $39.99. The Alakazam boxes right now are selling for $44.99, and they sell consistently. So that's where the money's coming from. That's how the bills are getting paid right now. Taking advantage of the demand on those places. So put that back. There we go. So Yeah, supply and distro is what we're talking about. That's all that we're talking about currently. Supply and distro is completely drying up, but the shelves are starting to dry up too at Walmart. I mean, realistically, we're seeing Targets and Walmarts again feeling like 2020 and 2021, where there are just big vacant voids. Right now, Mason and I were talking about it 2 weeks ago. My Walmart right now has 2 shelves of these. I don't know. I had one sitting around there. I might have finally thrown away the Adventures chests. Them are the Paldean Adventure chests. Them are just filling space. I mean, they're literally got 2 shelves, and on top of the shelf at our Walmart, just full of those. But they don't have any packs. They have some of the Jiraji V boxes, which are all Scarlet and Violet for $24.98, which isn't. There's no value in that. You can't do anything with that. You can get the Gambit Kingdra on that parts as well. You can't do anything with that. I mean, there's just nothing that you can do with that kind of stuff. So once again, it's all starting to dry up. It's getting to be a big sellers market again. We're getting a really big demand on that sellers market, and we're not getting that resupply from our distributor side right now. It's all drying up right now at the storefront, at distributor front. Me having a distributor, it's drying up everywhere. I mean, it's just getting literally anymore. It's back to Friday about 2 o'clock. I have to be at Walmart to try and get the stuff I want before the other guy gets there before me and gets it. Hopefully the distributor's there at 1:30 to put it in place, so I catch it early enough, and that he doesn't come early or come late where I think he's not coming for that day. That's where we're getting to again. It's been a long time since I've had that for the streaming side where I've had to feel that way, because I can't get it from the distributor. I have to go to the next source, which is Walmart, which is the other side of distributing, and try and pick up what I can get for that. So yeah, it's becoming an interesting market in general again. It's feeling very reminiscent to 2020, 2021 again for product availability and shelf space. Nick Landon, thank you so much for dropping in. I bought a case of Obsidian Flames Pokemon Center ETBs and watched it sit for a whole year. Then people realized over the past 3 months that they do like like Charmander. Well, yeah, because Squirtle and Blastoise are available now, so now everybody wants the Charmander. Yeah, I've seen that with the ETBs too. That's what I was kind of laughing at, is that um so a distributor, the Obsidian Flames ETBs and the Scarlet and Violet ETBs were sitting there for a long period of time, and I was just looking right at the beginning of the live here. I was going through all the products that were still available, and the Obsidian Flames ones are now sold out. And they weren't 2 weeks ago. I could have gotten Obsidian Flames ETBs, but they're now sold out. The Scarlet and Violet, the 2 different Scarlet and Violets are the only 2 that are left currently on distributors. So funny. It's very funny that happened. Eric Thompson, welcome on in. How you doing? Hey, I didn't catch you on the live or regular uploads. Glad to see you live. I'm here every Tuesday at 9 p.m. I do kick in. So thank you for stopping in, Eric. As we're actually just gonna close up. I see it's 10:30. Wow, we really blew by in overtime tonight, guys. So absolutely awesome. So there's hope for Rebels Clash then. The new team, the new Rocket set returns. Yeah. Well, Rebels Clash is actually not doing bad. I mean, the good news is it's never gotten any real reprints. You go back to Sword and Shield, and I mean, well, what's a Rebel? I'm just curious, because I haven't, honestly, I have not looked at Rebel Clash in so long. I don't even know if anything has any value in it right now. So booster boxes are $225. I mean, that ETB is still sitting at about $140. I remember telling people to buy that thing at $80, and the thing is at $246 right now. It was higher than that at one point. It has come down a little bit. Yeah, it was up at like 160. It kind of settled back down at like that 140, 150 range. So, oh, Giovanni is the best. Yeah, I like the Giovanni, and same thing in Rebel Clash. The Giovanni is a really, really fun card. It's the best card in the set. That and the Sonya. The Sonya is a decent trainer in there as well. Probably the 2 best cards in the whole set right there is the Sonya and the Giovanni. So definitely 2 great cards in that particular set for sure. So, well, guys, I still see there's about 31 people. If you could help me out, hit that like button as we're about to wrap it up. Also, if you do want to support the channel, we have been doing more videos, of course, as well. So if you do go back and check, I've been doing video now every Friday. I also threw in a little one yesterday. he never did get a hold of me. I was trying to poke the bear a little bit on that, and hopefully was hoping to get some conversation, but didn't happen. But maybe next time we'll see what we can do with that. Once again, thank you everybody that's joined in. Like I said, if you want to help the channel, there's always the memberships. Greatly appreciated in that front. We do not get much from, I know everybody thinks monetization is a great thing, but we really don't get much for the views, which is sad. You think you could do a little bit better for some of us, but it is what it is. The best way to help support the channels, of course, is the memberships. Greatly appreciated. Other than that, thank you everybody that's been hanging out and joining us here this evening. We got 131 likes this evening, which is our views, which is fantastic. So thank you everybody that sat down, watched. 30 of you still sitting here with us for most of the video. So greatly appreciated for that as always. Check out the video on Friday. We already have it all preloaded. It's all ready to rock and roll for you. I'm trying to stay a week ahead so that I don't miss any of them. I'm trying to keep consistent on here as well. Plus, I've been working on some shorts to put out there as well. So we're starting to work the YouTube front a little bit more as well. So I'm trying to find some time and manage this as well. So thank you everybody that's joined in once again for live. Thank you for the questions. As always, it's greatly appreciated to have everybody in here. Thank you for being part of the channel and supporting us as always. And if you do want to have some fun and have some discussion, make sure you check out the Discord as well. We bring up, sometimes we bring up topics, people's updates, and of course showing off people's collections in the Discord, having some fun on that as well. Other than that, hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of the week. We'll hope to see you on Friday's video. And other than that, we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.